Hey everybody, it's your boy Tacho here, and I'd like to wish you all a zappy holidays, courtesy of Yunaka. Now, I'm playing. I was just on the Twitter, and I saw this posted on the official Fate Twitter, and I thought it was so flippin' adorable, so I just had to start the video off with that. Of course, for real though, if you are celebrating the holidays, then I hope you guys are having a good one so far. Festivities haven't started yet, at least in terms of Christmas, so hopefully, Santa's got y'all covered. Okay, so today what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go ahead and take a look at the upcoming Hall of Forms units that are going to be dropping tomorrow, actually. Now, I've had ample time all week to make this video, but due to the holiday rush and busyness, I haven't really had a chance to get down to it, but we're going to go ahead and cover it today. So these are the 4 units we're going to see in Hall of Forms. We have Yune, we have the Summer Micaiah. Well, actually, there's 2 Summer Micaiahs. There's the one wearing a yukata, and then we have also this one here in the bikini. Then we have also Summer Elincia, and then we have Hatari Nailah. So a lot of beach-ready babes here. And we have Yune, of course, ready to cause a lot of chaos in Darkness Season. As far as which one of these units I think is the best one to pick up, well, the only one that's feasible at plus 10 is Summer Elincia, and she was already kind of like a really good merge project anyway. She's a flying blue-type bow, so she's got access to some really good skills. She's not that difficult to plus 10 as long as you've got the grails to do it. And her performance is going to be pretty good. She's got a nice stat spread combo, and she's got perfectly placed super boons. So definitely a worthwhile unit to invest in if you can get the right skills on her. I would say Yune is probably in second place, of course, or maybe even first place, depending on how you want to look at it. She is a defensive mythic hero, so you got to run her if you want to, like, set up a decent defense. Well, not really, but if you wanted to, like, reduce lift loss from losing on defense, then Yune would be able to help you out there. And then she's actually got some good skills for defense in particular. Like, her own unique C skill is really nice, which does a lot of debuffs. But there's a lot of other debuffing skills you could give her in the C skill to fill a different role if you wanted to. So let's dive right in. We're going to start things off with Elincia. As I said, I think she is probably the best one, but there are arguments to be made that Yune might be more valuable too. So White Wind Bow is a pretty good bow that we can get on her. There's actually a couple of really nice bows in Hall of Forms. The really, really nice one that she would have liked, which is Kumo Yumi, which is available on the Reina from the Ninja banner, is not going to be in there yet, so unfortunately you can't get that one. But that one gives a brave attack and then also warping and all stats of 4. Would have been fire to get on her. But White Wind Bow is still pretty cracked, and it's on par with a arcane weapon. At the start of turn, it gives you null follow-up, and then it also gives you... It gives you 2 effects. It gives you null follow-up and I think null panic. And then, depending on the amount of active bonuses you have and the amount of active penalties the enemies have, you can get more stats. And there's no cap on it either, so you can get, like, as many stats as you want. She defaults with White Cap Bow, so that's also a pretty good bow. You don't want to pick that up in here because she comes with it. But, I mean, just getting a lot of options on here is really nice. Deadeye should be the top priority for special. The assist is whatever you want. I typically go for, like, Harsh Command or a double Rally Plus or a Rally Up Plus. Any of those are fine. Just pick whichever one you prefer. Attack and Speed Prime 4, she can't really make, like, the best use of it in terms of defense as far as the close counter portion is concerned. But the Attack and Speed Up 9 is very juicy, and we're getting so many start-of-turn bonuses with White Wind Bow that you might as well just get it. Desperation 4, of course, is really nice for her player phase. Lets her go for instant attacks. It's more so, like, crazy if you're running a Brave weapon where she can just quad right away. And then we have Oath 4 there for the warping and the attack and speed bonuses. So this is not really a build, by the way. None of the builds we're looking at are particularly a build. It's more so just showing off the skills she can pick up in here that would be worthwhile. And I tried to make them look cohesive, but you're not running Desperation and Prime 4 on the same build. Let's just put it that way. Okay, here is another example of skills. So we have Ninja Yumi here, which is another Brave Bow. This one gives you defense and res -4, and then based on 50% of the difference between your speed and the enemy's speed, you can get a maximum of 4 points of bonus damage per hit. So, okay, it's not a bad Brave weapon to go for, although I think White Cap Bow is probably better. But just for the rarity's sake, you could pick it up in here. Ruptured Sky is another possible special for her besides Deadeye, although obviously Deadeye is more so what she wants. We got a lot of DR skills here. Remote Sparrow and Brash Assault for a lot of initiate DR. You can combo that further later on with the Fleeting Echo Seal if you want to give that to her. And then Speed and Defense Hold just to get some more debuffs on the enemies, which your allies can take advantage of as well, which is very nice. So Hold skills, even though we're seeing like crazier C skills from Flyers, they can still put in work. And then over here, we've got the Fire Sweep Bow, which is also not the worst bow in the world if you want to pick that up. We have Deadeye once again, another assorted rally skill. Just pick whichever one you like. Then we've got Flared Sparrow, which is a skill she definitely makes very good use of. This is probably the best ace skill to give her in here. Escape Route 4, so we can get Canto 1 and possibly Warping on her if she's not on full HP. And it's not that difficult to do that. If you've got units on the team like Bernadetta who can do 1 chip damage to everybody, then you'll instantly be able to get your Canto 1. And then we have Soaring Guidance as well to allow everyone to warp into her. If you want, you could go for Guidance 4 also. It's really just a choose-your-own-adventure kind of thing. Whichever types of units you prefer going for. If you like Flyers more, go for this one. If you like Armors more, go for Guidance 4. And that pretty much covers us for all the good skills you can get on her. Next up, we have Yune. So, as I said earlier, there's a lot of other debuff skills you can run on her besides her own C skill, which is Chaos Named. Chaos Named is very good in terms of red debuffs, but it doesn't offer any effect debuffs, like in the case of Def Res Ploy. So, this one is doing Ploy, the status effect, which nullifies things like Bonus Doubler and also Grand Strategy. And then you're also inflicting exposure too. So, this could be seen as a more powerful debuff tool than her own C skill. So there's definitely value to be had there. And then Sabotage Attack Res is like made specifically for her. This is definitely something you're going to want to look into getting on her. So this one does in-combat debuffs to attack and res, and then it also does a start-of-turn debuff to attack and res. Unfortunately, we can't get different stats all the way together from Sabotage and Def Res Ploy, where there's a redundancy here on res debuffing, but I mean, it's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter. Like speed, even she doesn't really care too much about speed debuffing, but it would help her weapon out regardless. Then we have Stillwater 4 here to get visible res as high as possible, so we can really abuse the crap out of Ploy 3 and Sabotage 3. Ruptured Sky is unfortunately the best special you can get in here, because they really shafted mages on that flare special. Harsh Command, whatever, like, just choose your own assist, it doesn't matter. And then Madness Flask is here because it gives you Fury 3 built in. So that's raising our visible res to the utmost, and you take the res refine to get the highest amount of visible res. This would be if you're going to go for just pure debuffing with her, and you don't really care about her own combat potential. Her weapon is good. You would definitely not want to take her weapon off, but if you're just using her as a debuff bot, then this weapon has value. Okay, next up we have this build here. Tea Cake Tower gives you all stats of 4, and then I think it gives you like a Pledgian effect where you're augmenting debuffs on the enemies, or turning their buffs into debuffs. I don't remember exactly which. It's a nice weapon though, gives you a lot of stat swings. And then we've got Blue Flame, which is the other rare special. Obviously her well, Blue Flame doesn't use defense. I think it just does a fixed amount of damage. If you're not adjacent, I think it does 25 damage, and then if you're adjacent to an ally, it does 50 damage. I think that's how that works. I don't remember. I don't use Blue Flame often, but yeah, something like that. So, I mean, it's rare, but you're probably not going to use it over Ruptured Sky. Fire Flood boost 3, of course, just to get some HP, and then attack and res and guard. We got Escape Route 4, which can allow her to get Canto 1, which is very nice. And then Soaring Guidance or Guidance 4, whichever you want. This is very nice of a tool to have on a defense team where you may be deploying Yune. You don't get debuffs, though, unfortunately. Like, all her best debuff skills are in the C-slot passive. So giving up on Chaos Named or Def Res Ploy is kind of sus. But the power of Soaring Guidance and Guidance 4 enabling some warp shenanigans is very disgusting, so this is still a very valuable tool. Alright, next up we have this weapon here, Tea Time Set. It gives attack and speed up 5 and then Canto 1. Really, we're just using it for the Canto 1. The attack is nice, but the speed is irrelevant for her. So just easy access to Canto on a mage unit will definitely take. And then we've got Flared Mirror here, Brash Assault, and then Attack and Res 4. So Flared Mirror should go without saying. You're doing a lot of chip damage, setting up the fire tiles, and then Brash Assault has us covered with DR. Her own weapon gets a lot of DR as well if there's debuffs in play. And then Attack and Res Oath 4 for more and more attack and res stacking and the ability to warp in. And then finally, here are some other builds or other skills. So Pledgian Torch, another solid weapon. This one just does a lot of debuffs if the enemies are already debuffed, which Yune is trying to do in the first place, just debuff enemies. So here's another combo. If you want to, if you're like a real stickler for, I don't know what the right word to say is for this one, like not consistency, but like no redundancy. Like you want everything to be perfect. So speed and defense snag debuffs speed and defense, and then attack and res ploy debuffs attack and res. The snag is not useless here. This would be more so for using Yune under your own control, like not for the CPU, because you're going to want to use like smite and reposition and things like that with snag 4. So when you do that, you're debuffing the enemies by speed and defense -7, and then inflicting the sabotage status effect, which combos really nicely with ploy and exposure. So just a ton of debuffs are going to be inflicted on the enemies. Sturdy Impact is an oldie but a goodie on this unit because it gives her the impact effect, and comboed with her own weapon, it gives her Omni Breaker. So she negates enemy follow-ups and she gets her own guaranteed follow-up. You're going to run into people with null follow-up though, that's the problem. So not as highly needed on her as it was before, but still a nice skill to pick up on her because not everything is going to have null follow-up. If you're fighting like slower units, they probably don't have it. Okay, so next up we have the Hatari Nailah here. Now, this unit's in a very unfortunate position because beast units have no specials. Like, there's no very interesting special that you can give this unit. Hopefully that changes by New Year. Well, New Year is typically a beast banner, right? Well, this year it's Year of the Dragon, so we're probably going to get like dragon units this time. But hopefully there's overlap with the new dragon skills that are coming that you can also give out to beast units. We've seen that already on like Counter Roar and stuff. So hopefully beast units get a good special, and dragons by extension, because they really need it. So we're going for Gale Force here because we don't really have any other choice. Prime 4 is nice. A really good skill on her, of course. Gives her attack and speed, and then gives her distant counter built in. Her weapon is really solid, at least for the time it came out. Gives her all stats of 5, Canto Rem, Tempo, and then also null follow-up. So quite a lot of effects there, a lot of good god effects. And Beast Sense 4 has us covered for the rest. We're getting Phantom Speed Light, and then we're also getting speed-based damage reduction. So a bootleg god unit here in the form of a beast type. This could cook, actually. If she gets a nice refine, this build could actually be cooking for her. And then Pledge there to get some acceleration on hit, and we can easily activate Gale Force. She's a nice hit and run unit because she can run like Gale Force, hit the enemies, move again, hit the enemies again, and then Canto Rem herself out of the way. So she's got some uses. It's not like she's a total nobody, but she could certainly be a lot better, especially when we're comparing her to stuff like Winter Edelgard that just does absolutely everything. All right, here's another example build. We've got Bonus Doubler 4, Counter Roar, and Attack and Speed Oath 4 this time around. So we're getting lots and lots of stats with Bonus Doubler 4. Very nice for a unit like her that wants to just be as all-rounded as possible. Counter Roar, like we mentioned, is available for Beasts and Dragons, and it's kind of like a big brother to Brash Assault 4, because you're getting the DR on dual phase, and then you're getting the augmented damage. And then Attack and Speed Oath 4 there for warping and more attack and speed. Here is a nuking type of build if you want to go for that. So we can nullify DR with Special Spiral 4. Unfortunately, running Tempo 4 or Physical Null Follow-Up 4 on this unit is kind of redundant because her weapon already has both of those effects. The only thing we'd be getting out of that is cutting DR in half on every hit. So Special Spiral 4 gives us the most uniqueness while also nullifying DR. Comboed with Finish 4 and Time Pulse 4, of course, the classic bread and butter Special Spiral 4 build. So we can loop Dragon Fang over and over and blow the enemies out of the water. And finally, here's some more skills. So we got Distant Attack Speed Solo with Null C4. Now, she's not able to nullify DR with this build, which is something that's really important for these bait units now. So, like, this is a little sus, but it can work out. Especially if you're going to do something like give her support with the legendary Elir, so she can nullify DR that way. And then, all of a sudden, like, this build does work out. We got also Infantry Pulse 4 to support the team by giving +1 or -1 special cooldown to everybody at the start of turn if her max HP is better than them. And you would want to give her a Squad Ace seal that gives HP 5 and double stats 3 to make the best use of this. So, not the worst things. Like, it really just depends on what they give her for her refine. But we're quite a ways away from this unit getting a refine, unfortunately. And last but not least, we have Micaiah here. So, I really can't give Micaiah the flowers that I would like to, unfortunately. Her own weapon is still better than this. Like, the Vulture Tome, the colorless one, is... I mean, we're only taking it because it's the only other thing she can get besides her own weapon. So, pick it up, yes, for the rarity's sake. But, like, you're not going to run it over her own weapon. Her weapon gives her a Brave attack and double type effectiveness. But in order to get the Brave attack, you need 15 more points of res than the opponent, which is not likely anymore. You could make the case that back when she came out, it was possible. But nowadays, with the advent of these level 3 split ploy skills, res has become a very valuable stat to stack now. So I can't really imagine this unit being able to just have 15 more points of res on the spot than all of her opponents. So that is unfortunate. We got Ruptured Sky, though, as the special. It's really the only option here besides Blue Flame. Stillwater 4 gives us as much visible res as possible. Although we're basically going to go through the whole assortment of res and attack boosting skills on her. Sabotage attack res and def res ploy. Just like with Yune, she can do a lot of debuffs. Her res is still good, like, despite it not being 15 points as good as we need it to be. It's still pretty solid, so you can get away with these debuff skills here. Then over here, we got Blue Flame, like I said, Flared Mirror and Brash Assault, so we get some Initiate DR and a guaranteed follow-up. You could possibly quad with this, and possibly live as well if you give her Fleeting Echo. If the enemies don't nullify your Initiate DR and you attack into them, you could probably hit them 4 times, and then with the effective against armor, you might be able to cook. So that's the idea here. Colorless Feud also to negate, like, miracle effects that may be giving out to units by Fallen Maria and the duo Ymir. And of course, Flared Mirror. What needs to be said about Flared Mirror? Okay, over here we've got a different assortment of skills. So Escape Route 4 is actually pretty cool on her because she has a way to get to it herself. She has, what is it, Sacrifice? Or I don't think it was called Sacrifice on her, the unique assist that she gets. Might have been called something else, but whatever it's called, you can use it as a tool to chip your own HP to get to escape route range. So, pretty cool. So, I actually, back in the day, I liked running stuff like Vantage on Micaiah. I ran, like, Vantage Desperation on the OG Micaiah back in the day because, like, she could easily just get her own HP low. So, low HP skills are pretty cool on her. Def Res Smoke gives us Pathfinder and also debuffs the enemies, so makes sense. We can attack into something, Kanto out of the way, and get Pathfinder for the allies. And then Remote Mirror gives us some Initiate DR there. And then the final set of skills here, we got Fire Flood Boost, Inflicting Guard, and giving us HP and attacking res. Far Trace, believe it or not, yeah, we're actually... This is how you know this unit is in a tough spot. Because we have to run, like, Far Trace and Menace even. Like, Menace is legitimately, unironically, a decent skill to pick up on her. Like, Colorless Feud. It's real unfortunate because the Gulveig banner hasn't hit yet, so we can't get, like, Occult Strike in here or Insight Attack and Speed and things like that. That would have been really helpful for a lot of these units. But it's not available in Hall of Forms yet, sadly. So, big sad, big RIP. But that pretty much covers us for the unique skill, or at least the best skills you may want to look for and pick up on these guys. Once again, none of these builds are definitive. They're just, like, to show off the skills you want to pick up. And you can go ahead and take it from there. Pick your favorite assortment of skills that you want to get on them. So this is your boy Tacho signing out. Hopefully you guys have some good luck if you're trying to pick something up in Hall of Forms. And also, once again, have a zappy holidays. And I will catch you guys again on the flip side.